You're good, you're good.
What am I saying? I'm Calvin Royal III. I'm a principal with ABT, and this is my journey. So I grew up in the Tampa Bay area in Florida, and when I was in elementary school, I was home one day after school and I saw an audition notice come on the news for the Chocolate Nutcracker, and it looked really exciting, looked like a lot of fun, and I called my mom and I asked her if I could go to the audition, and she took me, and essentially after auditioning, I got into the production, and my love of dance was born at the Chocolate Nutcracker. We did West African dancing, hip hop, a little bit of jazz, and it was just that exposure to movement and music was everything. And so I did that for probably 6 or 7 years. And I had auditioned for the High School of Performing Arts in St. Petersburg, Florida. And that was sort of my first time stepping foot in a ballet class, a modern dance class. And so I got into the Performing Arts High School dance program, and I started freshman year with ballet and modern dance. And it was honestly some of the hardest classes I've ever had to do in my life. We had ballet class at 7:05 every morning when the bell rang. We were at the bar. And so it was a big learning curve. I was going through puberty, going through the growth spurts and everything. And after that first year, I wasn't sure if ballet was necessarily for me. I was thinking about changing to another arts program. They had theater and music and drama, and so I was thinking about switching, but my director at the ballet program, she met with me and she just really encouraged me to stick it out, continue to train, continue to learn as much as I could. She would send me home with DVDs of films from ABT, like The Dream and Born to Be Wild with the men of ABT, and so I just remember having all of this sort of inspiration from her to continue on and push past all of the challenges of starting ballet so late. And I went away, after my first year studying ballet, I went away to a summer program, and I learned a lot, and I came back, and a lot of my classmates, they're like, oh my God, your feet could point now, and you could jump higher. And I just remember feeling inside like, oh wow, like if I continued on with this, how much further could I go? And so I didn't leave the dance program. I stayed for my sophomore and junior year. And every year, our director would take a group of kids to the Youth America Grand Prix scholarship competition in Orlando, because it was the closest regional competition. Not for prizes. She really wanted the students to have exposure to other kids our age and to kind of see where we measured up and to get feedback from the panel of judges that judged our performances. So she took me and a group of my classmates my junior year to Orlando to compete. Lo and behold, I placed third place in the classical and contemporary rounds, and I was able to go to New York and compete in New York in the finals. And came to New York, competed in the finals, and according to my teacher, about 10 seconds into my Swan Lake Prince Siegfried variation, the two judges got up from the judges' table, and they were Franco De Vita and Raymond Lukens of the JKO School. And they wanted to find my teachers to let them know that I was being awarded a scholarship to come to ABT. So it was kind of a whirlwind, because I just started ballet 2.5 years prior, and now I have the scholarship to move to New York and train at one of the top schools in the world. And I remember calling my mom and asking her, you know, is this a leap that I could take? Can I go? And she told me if this is something that I wanted to do, that she would do everything she could to make sure that I got there. Having come to ABT on a scholarship was everything for me, because I didn't come from a background that my parents could just foot the bill of me moving to New York City. And so my senior year, we packed up everything and I moved to New York. I started JKO School. I went to Professional Performing Arts High School, and I would come down on the train and come to classes here at ABT. And essentially I've been here since 2006, working my way up the ladder through the JKO School. I did the summer intensive. Shortly after that, I joined the studio company, which was ABT 2 prior to being named studio company, under Wes Chapman, who was a former principal dancer with ABT. And I spent 2.5 years in ABT 2 traveling with a group of 12 dancers, and we performed repertoire that kind of gave us a taste of what it might be like to be a soloist in principal with ABT. We performed all the pas de deux, and we worked with choreographers that came in, and it was just such an incredible time, but also I was still playing catch up because I'd started ballet so late, so I was learning a lot from Wes and the other dancers. After 2.5 years in ABT 2, I joined the main company as an apprentice. Spent many years in the corps de ballet, just kind of finding my way, being in the big company. I went from being in the studio company and performing a lot and traveling a lot and being featured to being in the company at the bottom of the totem pole and kind of having to prove myself again and learn as much as I could, being the 5th understudy in the back. and I spent many years in the corps just learning a lot about how to continue training even when eyes weren't necessarily on me to tell me what to do. I had to kind of self-motivate and find a way through those times where I felt like, gosh, I'm not dancing a lot. And in 2015, Kevin, our director, nominated me for the Lenore Annenberg Fellowship. And I used that fellowship to essentially travel the world. And I had always seen these archival footages of Misha Baryshnikov working with a private coach and other dancers, and I just wanted to experience what that felt like. So I used the fellowship to travel to the top ballet houses of the world. I went to London and Paris, St. Petersburg, Copenhagen, and I worked with a private coach in each of those cities, and on repertoire that I just aspired to dance one day. And when I came back from that, I think at that time for me, I felt like I finally sort of took ownership of where I was headed and where I wanted to go, even if everything didn't feel like it was heading in that direction for me at the time. I just used that as an opportunity to explore and work with coaches and see shows and go to museums and just kind of take in all of that knowledge. And it was really just such an inspiring experience. And 2 years later, I got promoted to soloist with ABT, and I danced quite a bit of featured roles like Von Rothbart and Swan Lake, and what was really exciting for me was getting to debut the title role in George Balanchine's Apollo. It was a role that I had seen for so many years, so many iconic dancers getting to perform it, and to be able to step into a role like that as a soloist still, it just felt like such an honor, and that I had sort of really worked hard for that moment. And in 2020, I was promoted to principal dancer, and this past summer season, I had the chance to finally dance some dream roles of mine like Romeo and Romeo and Juliet, and Prince Siegfried in the Swan Lake, and it's like, to me, I just feel like the sky's the limit, and it's only just begun. Even though it's been 16 years here at ABT, that journey is just continuing, so yeah.